She was a respected member of Congress. Then tragedy turned her into the face of a movement. Ben Tracy is talking with Gabby Giffords and her husband, Senator Mark Kelly, as they look back and press ahead.
The sun will come out tomorrow, so you gotta hang on till tomorrow. Come what may, tomorrow.
If you spend some time with Gabby Giffords, you'll likely be treated to a tune or two.
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River.
But in her speech therapy sessions, finding her words can still be a challenge.
But the whole crew was fantastic.
Because of a brain disorder known as aphasia.
Aphasia really sucks. The words are there in my brain. I just can't get them out.
And yet, she has never lost her voice.
Stopping gun violence takes courage.
Or her unyielding optimism.
My spirit's strong as ever. I'm still fighting to make the world a better place, and you can too.
Giffords has been fighting every day since January 8th, 2011, when a gunman opened fire at her Congress on Your Corner event in Tucson, Arizona. 19 people were shot, 6 died. Gabby Giffords was shot in the head.
In terms of your recovery, how do you feel about where you're at?
I'm optimistic. It will be a long, hard haul, but I'm optimistic.
That spirit is what made the former House Democrat a rising political star.
The immediate need for a comprehensive immigration reform package.
And now powers her push to end gun violence.
Too many children are dying. We must do something.
Look at you.
Her improbable journey is at the center of a new documentary now in theaters, aptly titled Gabby Giffords Won't Back Down.
I love to talk. I'm Gabby.
Sometimes I think the word inspired is overused. It's certainly appropriate to Gabby. It makes you feel like, wow, if she can do that, look at what challenges I might take on.
Right.
But filmmakers Betsy West and Julie Cohen admit they were worried whether this project would even work.
Was there any concern about her limited ability to communicate and being the subject who has to carry a documentary?
Yeah, absolutely.
Big concern. Is Gabby's story going to be too depressing?
Happy birthday to...
But then we met Gabby.
Happy birthday, dear Gabby.
This is the most extraordinarily resilient, ebullient, adorable, hilarious, musical human being you could ever get to know.
How about 2 fingers?
The film shows each often agonizing step of Giffords' recovery.
5.
Gabby, are you frustrated?
Much of it taped by her husband, former astronaut and now Arizona Senator Mark Kelly.
What in you said we should document this?
The reason I did it is when you have an injury like that, you're not going to remember the early days of rehab and recovery. And I wanted her to be able to, see what that was like.
Mm-hmm. The skull.
The skull.
No, that's not her real skull. Yeah. Because if this was your real skull, you'd be in really bad shape.
But that shows how much they took out.
Yes.
Yeah. Gabby, America thanks you.
After the shooting, she gave up her seat in Congress.
Hello, my fellow Arizonans.
And then in 2020, Mark Kelly took up her mantle, running for Senate to complete the term of the late John McCain.
He's tough, he's smart, he works just as hard as I do. Well, almost.
His entry into politics has led to a surprising role reversal for the couple.
I was there for her, through the recovery month after month, year after year. And now with me running for the United States Senate, I've got an expert, at that with a lot of great advice. It's a long to-do list, but I'm used to those.
Slow down.
The checklist for flying the space shuttle stands about 6 feet tall. The Senate, though, is not NASA. Arizonans sent me here.
Slow down.
But sent me here to talk really slowly because that's what Gabby Giffords wants. When I was on the floor of the Senate giving that speech, it's a long to-do list, but hey, I'm used to those. I could hear Gabby in my head saying, slow down.
Slow down.
How do you think he's doing?
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Dangerous people with guns.
For Giffords, gun reform remains her priority through her organization that advocates for universal background checks on gun buyers.
Be bold. Be courageous. The nation's counting on you.
Last month, when President Biden signed the first significant gun reform legislation in nearly 3 decades, that measure was not included.
Do you think that was the best you could get? And if so, is that all we should expect?
Well, I think there's something to be said for compromise. I think our country is a better place when Republicans and Democrats can work together to solve problems. This is an issue that makes our country stand out in
The worst of worlds.
Yeah, in the worst of ways. And it's something the American people want addressed, and we did this with this legislation.
Since what happened here in Tucson, there have been so many, countless mass shootings in this country. Does it feel in some way as a country we've just kind of accepted that this is going to happen?
No.
We shouldn't.
No.
Yeah, we shouldn't. You know, sometimes it might take us a little while to get to it. But, you know, no other country on this planet is as good as solving problems as the United States of America.
No turning back. Fight, fight, fight every day.
Gabby is one of the most courageous people I have ever known.
Just a few days ago at the White House, Giffords received the Presidential Medal of Freedom for her advocacy.
Because of her, lives will be saved and America will be safer.
And while it's tempting to dismiss her optimism that we will end our country's plague of gun violence as either naive or just stubborn, you then remember the long odds Gabby Giffords has already beaten.
For me, it has been really important to move ahead, to not look back. I hope others are inspired to keep moving forward no matter what.
No matter what.
No matter what.
No matter what.
For Imprint, this is Lisa. Hi, I'd like 50 welcome wows and 300 customer I love it.
Promotional products from 4imprint are certain to deliver ooh yes.
Wow.
I love it. Find some wow now at 4imprint.com. 4imprint, for certain.
At home with Robert, retired burglar and family man.
Setting up Simply Safe is so easy. You could do it blindfolded. But I wouldn't recommend it. Anyone can do it in less than 30 minutes.
Welcome to Simply Safe.
No tools or wiring needed. Well, that was easy.
Right now, get 20% off plus a free indoor camera when you sign up for interactive monitoring. Only from Simply Safe.
It's nothing.
Sounds like something.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, unsystemic diarrhea.
Pepto-Bismol coats and soothes for fast relief when you need it most.
What's the #1 retinol brand used most by dermatologists?
It's Neutrogena.
Rapid wrinkle repair smooths the look of fine lines in 1 week, deep wrinkles in 4. So you can kiss wrinkles goodbye. Neutrogena.
My name's Caleb. What's yours?
I'm Grace. Did you just move here?
Yeah.
Cool.
Now on display at Philadelphia's Museum of Art, the colorful minimalist works of abstract artist Sean Scully. With Serena Altschul, we take in the show.
I use very simple structure. But how I paint it and what kind of personality it will have at the end is unknown to me.
Chances are, when Sean Scully paints, it will look something like this. Geometric, colorful grids, stripes woven together. His signature style.
Hey, Sean, why stripes?
Yeah, exactly. Why stripes?
It's so neutral, so old, it's archaic. You basically have to wake it up or you have to transform it. I'm trying to give it some sort of spirit.
This year alone, those stripes will be the subject of 13 solo shows around the world. The largest among them, a retrospective at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. It follows the evolution of the 77-year-old artist, now widely ranked as one of this century's greatest abstract artists.
He's using more square ones over here.
Scully's personal history, however, is less linear than his works. Born in Ireland and raised in London, Scully says he grew up in poverty, briefly belonging to a street gang as a teenager. Yet he found a way to night school, where he was drawn to painting and this work by Vincent van Gogh.
I found a painting that I thought was so crude that even I could do it. A chair that you can find in a junk shop. It was nothing fancy about it. The whole thing was inhabited with humility and devotion, and that touched me very deeply.
Soon after, the framework for his own style began to line up, when inspiration struck again while visiting Morocco.
I went making scribbly paintings, and I came back with stripes. It was just like this.
I imagine all the mosaics and the geometry.
It was exotic geometry.
4 decades later, and that affinity hasn't changed.
These are just perfect, ready to go.
Primed.
Here in his Tapan, New York studio, Scully continues to reinvent those lines, finding inspiration in nature and even other works of art, like this piece by J.M.W. Turner. And more recently, during the height of the pandemic, he incorporated black squares.
I set it inside an abstract landscape. So this was a way of saying, I don't know what comes next. None of us knew what comes next.
Where will this go?
I'm going to show it in a museum in Copenhagen.
Scully's works are celebrated internationally, and even though some have fetched millions, Scully hoards hundreds.
How many warehouses do you have like this?
5. If I like something or I can still learn something from it, I don't want them going out.
Yet, like his paintings, it's all still a work in progress.
What do you want your legacy to be? What do you want to be remembered by and for having done?
Ah, yes, the legacy question. I'm very committed to putting some depth and soul and emotion into art, hoping that will be useful to people. My legacy will be what people want it to be.
This portion of Sunday Morning is sponsored by Cologuard. Screening made easy.
Homegrown tomatoes. Nice.
I want to feel in control of my health, so I do what I can.
What about screening for colon cancer? When caught in early stages, it's more treatable. I'm Cologuard. I'm non-invasive, and I detect altered DNA in your stool to find 92% of colon cancers, even in early stages.
Early stages?
Yep. It's for people 45 plus at average risk for colon cancer, not high risk. False positive and negative results may occur. Ask your provider if Cologuard is right for you.
Consider it done.
Giorgio, look. The peanut butter box is here.
Ralph, that's the Chewy Pharmacy box with our flea and tick meds. It's not peanut butter.
I know, but every time the box comes, we get the peanut butter.
Yes, because Mom takes the meds out of the box and puts them in the peanut butter.
Sounds like we're getting peanut butter.
Yes, but that is the Chewy Pharmacy box.
The peanut butter box is here. The peanut butter.
All right, I'm out.
Pet prescriptions delivered to your door. Chewy.
Make this the summer you realized the farther you go, the better it gets. The summer you secured a campsite that didn't require reservations, found a water park that didn't have lines, and realized that even out here, you're never alone. Make this the summer of Jeep with the most awarded SUV brand.
Shop and buy online with Jeep eShop, where right now, get 0% financing on all 2022 Jeep Grand Cherokee WK models, plus 3 years no-cost maintenance with the Jeep Wave program.
For most, recovering from COVID-19 takes patience and the right medication. But for those diagnosed with long COVID, it's a very different story. And as our Dr. John LaPook explains, for those patients, life is a constant search for treatment, for relief, and for answers.
In everyday conversation, people say, "Hey, how are you?" Or in emails, "Hi, hope all is well." And those conversations and those questions are really hard for me to answer.
What do you answer?
I say, well, I'm doing all right.
For Ken Todd, all right is very much a relative term. Since contracting COVID-19 back in January 2021, Todd has never made a full recovery, making him one of the millions who suffer from long COVID. The CDC defines long COVID as health problems that persist more than a month after a COVID infection. And for this 53-year-old media executive, long COVID is very much a fact of life.
It's very discouraging. I was doing everything I was told to do. The doctors told me, however, that I would not see improvement over the course of weeks. It would be more like over the course of months. You know, it's very isolating. You feel like you're disconnected to the world. The world is moving on without you, and you kind of feel invisible.
That's a terrible feeling.
It is.
Ken Todd works for CBS's parent company, Paramount Global. But we met him through Survivor Corps, a long COVID patient support organization. Todd used to be a CrossFit fanatic, but a month after contracting COVID, he found even a stroll in the park would exhaust him.
Were you short of breath at all?
I was not short of breath.
No chest pains?
Nope, just a weird feeling. I went home and I slept for probably a couple of hours and then felt better. But that was really the beginning of realizing that something different is going on here. Good morning. How are you?
What's been going on are the unresolved and to outside appearances largely invisible consequences of COVID-19. For Ken Todd, that means fatigue, dizziness, inability to regulate his body temperature, and difficulty concentrating. Those are among the most typical symptoms, though chest pain, palpitations, and shortness of breath are also commonly reported.
Can you diagnose long COVID on a blood test?
No.
X-ray?
No.
CAT scan?
No.
MRI?
No.
Brain scan?
No.
Physical exam?
No.
So you can imagine how that would be disconcerting to somebody who has some symptoms.
Yes, indeed. The scientific community needs to quickly understand what's going on and needs to quickly make some criteria, some diagnostic rules.
Here at NYU Langone Health, where I'm a professor of medicine, Dr. Leora Horwitz has gone from treating patients during the worst of the pandemic to searching for a way to diagnose and treat long COVID. Dr. Horwitz is helping to guide a $1 billion study run by the National Institutes of Health. It's called Recover, and its goal is to learn why so many people who contract COVID-19 are reporting long-term symptoms.
I've been in research for 25 years. I have never seen a study of this scale and this scope start in such a short amount of time.
Why do you think this is taking off quicker than usual?
Because COVID is an emergency.
Consider this. The Centers for Disease Control reports more than half of all Americans have been infected with COVID-19. And as many as 1 in 5 infected adults have experienced a symptom suggestive of long COVID. That's tens of millions. Here are a few things we do know. The more severe and prolonged the initial experience with COVID, the greater the risk of long COVID. Being vaccinated lowers the risk of severe illness and the risk of long-term effects. But more than 2 years into the pandemic, researchers still have very few solid answers.
The big surprise in COVID has been people who were never even that sick in the acute phase that are still having persistent problems.
The NIH's Dr. Walter Koroshetz is at the helm of the RECOVER study. For Dr. Koroshetz, who specializes in diseases of the nervous system, the mysteries of long COVID present a familiar dilemma.
I'm a neurologist. A lot of the illnesses that we treat, we don't have a treatment. Our job is to kind of help people get, as best they can get through their illness. That skill is necessary now more than ever.
Researchers are honing in on some possible causes of long COVID, including long-term damage from the initial illness, such as inflammation in the heart, lungs, and blood vessels, disruption of the microbiome, the trillions of bacteria in our gut that have wide-ranging effects on our health, the immune system mistakenly attacking healthy tissue after the virus is gone, and an immune reaction to remnants of the COVID virus that can remain in the body months after an initial infection. These last two theories point to similarities with other infections, such as Lyme and Epstein-Barr, which NYU Langone's Dr. Leora Horwitz says can be difficult to diagnose, just like long COVID.
I want to be very clear about this. The symptoms and the disease are absolutely real. We are failing right now as physicians in figuring out how to identify that and how to characterize it.
I can imagine that the millions of people out there who for years have been told, oh, your chronic fatigue syndrome, your fibromyalgia, your chronic Lyme, it's in your head. Yeah. They've been told that incorrectly.
Yes.
They're watching this and thinking, see?
That's right.
When I interviewed Camille Halafka of Queens, New York in April 2021, she was struggling to breathe 4 months after contracting COVID, though doctors said her lungs appeared to function normally. I remember a year ago, your son Reed was 2 then?
Yes.
You couldn't really read to him.
Yeah. I feel some people might say, oh, that's so small and it doesn't matter, but that's heartbreaking. You never want to deprive your child of something that they love.
Since then, the 39-year-old Halafka has made remarkable progress. Medication and breathing exercises helped her run a 10K race last year, and she's in training for this fall's New York City Marathon. Some patients feel better with physical therapy and with medications that relieve symptoms, but there are no drugs yet that specifically treat long COVID.
From a scale of 1 to 100, if 100% is where you were before you got COVID, where do you think you are now?
I'd say about 80 to 85%. To everybody, I look, I feel, I seem normal, but the internal struggle that I feel, a little bit of loss or fear of getting older and the potential that this could get worse again, and that's, worrying about a what if. I think all those little things contribute to the 15%.
What would you like to say to people out there who are struggling with long COVID right now?
I would like to say that life carries forward, and as hard as it is that it happened to you, we are alive. Hope is my message. Hope.
That sense of optimism is what propels Ken Todd as well. Though he reports feeling only about 50% back to his pre-COVID health, he has improved his stamina by following a physical therapy program developed by New York's Mount Sinai Hospital. And he recently volunteered for the NIH's RECOVER study. Giving help to others, it seems, gives Ken Todd hope for the future, even when the present remains a struggle.
Whatever I can do to help the medical community figure this out, I want to be able to do that. It gives me purpose to talk about my experience. Yeah. Everybody wants the pandemic to be over. The pandemic is far from over for me.
When you have technology that's easier to control, that can scale across all your clouds.
We got that, right?
Yeah, we got that.
It's easier to be an innovator, so you can do more incredible things.
Now's the time for cleaner indoor air with an air duct cleaning from Stanley Steamer. You've known us for carpet cleaning, but we've been cleaning air ducts for over 20 years. We do things the right way, cleaning your entire system. So if you need an air duct cleaning, call 1-800-STEAMER today.
$129 for the night, please. $99 for the night, please.
Wait, what?
With Trivago, you can compare hotel offers from major booking sites and find a great deal. Hotel Trivago.
The January 6th hearings. Committee member Adam Kinzinger joins us. Plus inflation and soaring housing costs. What's next for the economy? And former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb with the latest on COVID and monkeypox. Face the nation today.
This is the kind of story late night was made for.
Colbert's back with Billy Crystal. New Monday on the Emmy-nominated Late Show.
They shot to stardom decades ago with one hit after another. We have a summer song from Kelafasane. The B-52s say goodbye.
I remember seeing Love Shack on MTV, and I was like, what is this?
Well, it didn't fit the mold of what mainstream radio played.
The mainstream caught on. Love Shack by the B-52s was released in the summer of 1989 and became the group's biggest hit.
It had a great groove, and it had a great story, and it was different.
They could be describing their own band. Cindy Wilson, Keith Strickland, Kate Pearson, and Fred Schneider never tried to fit in.
Mainstream radio had a list of, if you like the Eagles, your friends drive Mercedes, and then at the bottom, if you like the B-52s, blah, 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 they borrow their friends' cars.
You listen to the B-52s, maybe you drive something the size of a whale, right?
Yeah, exactly.
The group came together after Fred and Kate moved from New Jersey to Athens, Georgia, where Keith and Cindy grew up.
Was the connection instantly a musical connection between you guys?
No, we were friends. We just would hang out together.
We never really intended to start a band, right?
That changed in the mid-'70s when Keith Strickland snapped a guitar string.
So sometimes I would be sitting around playing the guitar, and I would break a guitar string, and I wouldn't change the, I would just retune it.
The next day, Keith's best friend, Ricky Wilson, began playing it, missing string and all.
And he said, I've just written the most stupid guitar riff you've ever heard.
It would become Rock Lobster, the band's first song, and then, in 1979, its first single. Ricky on guitar, Keith drums, Fred lead singer, and Kate and Cindy, Ricky's little sister, harmonizing.
It's a hobby that just exploded into a career.
Right.
I was still washing dishes at a local restaurant.
And I was a waitress at the Whirligig.
In this posed one over here, you can kind of see how the band got its name.
Yeah, because the B-52s is another slang term for a big, bouffant that looks like a nose cone, and Keith came up with the name.
Hailed as a, quote, breath of fresh air. Their first album was the inspiration for John Lennon's last.
In his final interview, he said, "It sounds like Yoko's music. I said to myself, it's time to get out the old axe and wake the wife up." Were you shocked when you heard that?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were big fans of Yoko from way back.
Appearing on Saturday Night Live,
We were at a party.
the band looked and sounded like something from another planet.
People start to react. This famous Saturday Night Live
That's actually
performance.
what made us, I think. We had never done TV like that.
It was amazing, though. People keep telling me that they saw it when they were
6.
You know, yes, it was that tall.
Kurt Cobain and Dave Grohl individually saw it.
And they said it
changed their
blew their
lives.
minds, yeah. We had no idea and never set out to change people's lives, but it happens that way.
The 5 band members released 3 more albums. Bouncing Off the Satellites in 1986 would be their last. Guitarist and Cindy's big brother, Ricky Wilson, had AIDS and died at 32.
I suspected, but he wasn't ready to talk to me about it.
There was just so much fear around AIDS at the time, and there was just so much we didn't
People
know
were
about
ostracized.
Yeah. And Ricky was very private and a very shy person, and he didn't quite know how to deal with it either.
The story of the B-52s seemed to be over.
We couldn't imagine doing it without Ricky.
We started losing so many friends, too.
I mean, it was just devastating what followed. And yet, counterpoint to that, I think a lot of people tried to find joy and music.
Including Keith, who'd lost his best friend and collaborator.
You suffer this incredible setback, and you lose a real visionary.
Yes.
Right.
And so you figure out a way to regroup.
I didn't really think of myself as a guitarist, but I had been writing songs with the guitar and keyboard.
Keith, Cindy, Kate, and Fred started meeting up and writing again.
That was a really consoling thing for us to do, to be together. I mean, we would spend hours just talking, even though we were writing songs.
The result? Cosmic Thing. The album sounded like a celebration, and it attracted a new generation of fans, thanks to songs like Love Shack, along with others like Rome, and Deadbeat Club.
Writing the music, which became Deadbeat Club. I was thinking about Ricky a lot, and that was one of the songs where I was imagining him sitting beside me playing.
Cosmic Thing was really written to heal ourselves, but magically it healed a lot of other people who heard it. Being outsiders or gay or whatever, they felt different. And I guess our message was it's okay to be different.
It's always been you're okay to be different.
Did you ever think in those years of what Ricky would be thinking to see that kind of success?
Yeah, you know, I don't know how Ricky would have responded to it. Ricky was so talented, so amazingly talented. And yet, at the same time, he wasn't driven. Like, he had so many other interests.
Since Cosmic Thing, the band has released only 2 more albums of original music. They spend much of their time on tour, playing for fans who still line up to hear the hits. But for the past 10 years, Keith Strickland has stayed home.
And touring with the band for more than 35 years. And I just felt it was time.
This summer, Cindy Wilson, Kate Pearson, and Fred Schneider are embarking on what's being called the band's farewell tour.
What do you remember about those people in those photos?
I think I was still thinking about Ricky, and
I have no skills, so I was happy to, be in a band.
All I know is my face says we're going to succeed.
Yes!
CBS News, 60 Minutes, tonight on CBS.
Injured, our America's largest injury firm, Morgan & Morgan, for the people.
From Tina Fey and the creator of Saturday Night Live comes Mean Girls, the hilarious hit Broadway musical.
Why don't I know you?
Come see Mean Girls July 19th through 24th, the Fox Theater. Tickets at BroadwayInAtlanta.com.
Stacey is exactly what Georgia needs right now.
I've had the honor of learning from Stacey Abrams as a leader and a mentor.
She's brilliant. She's funny. She has a heart for service.
And she is capable of working with both sides. She's proved it over and over again.
Stopping tax increases with Republicans.
Saving universal preschool. She always wanted to see how the state could work better for its citizens.
She's just the most qualified person to be governor.
Spectacular return of Bruce Springsteen and the legendary E Street Band. Live in Atlanta, the 2023 tour. State Farm Arena, Friday, February 3rd. Register now through Sunday, July 17th at Ticketmaster.com for your chance to buy tickets with Ticketmaster Verified Fan on Wednesday, July 27th at 10 a.m. For more, see BruceSpringsteen.net.
First of all, what I can do to make things better is bring people together. I love this country. I believe in peace through strength. If we have no strength, we're going to have no peace. I believe in backing the blue. I believe in the Constitution. I believe that everybody should have a chance to have their faith. Do we have problems? Yes. Can we solve them? Yes. Georgia is my family. The United States is my family. So I'm going to fight and take care of them.
I'm Herschel Walker, and I approve this message.
From Tina Fey and the creator of Saturday Night Live comes Mean Girls, the hilarious hit Broadway musical.
Why don't I know you?
Come see Mean Girls July 19th through 24th, the Fox Theater. Tickets at BroadwayInAtlanta.com.
Earlier this month, retired Major John Duffy was awarded our nation's highest military honor, the Medal of Honor. But as David Martin explains, part of his story is pure poetry.
It was a brutal battle. No quarter asked, none given. You killed the enemy, or the enemy killed you.
It's not often, if ever, a recipient of the Medal of Honor is also a published poet. But retired Green Beret John Duffy turned his trial by fire into an epic poem of the Vietnam War. Lots of soldiers have written memoirs about their time in combat. You chose to write poetry. Why?
I wanted to paint the picture of the action and the panorama of the combat there.
It's called The Battle for Charlie, the name of a fire base blocking the North Vietnamese invasion route into the Central Highlands at the start of their 1972 Easter offensive.
This is a CBS News special report.
3 North Vietnamese divisions threatened to cut South Vietnam in half.
Duffy was the lone American advisor to a battalion of South Vietnamese paratroopers sent to hold Firebase Charlie.
Be brave, my comrades. What else can we do? There is no escape. Kill or die is our fate.
Sounds like going in, you knew this was a battle to the death.
We were given orders to fight to the death.
In his poem, Duffy imagines the orders the North Vietnamese commander gave his troops.
The big American with the radio on his back. I want him killed. He is controlling the aircraft. Target him. He must be destroyed.
That antenna was like a kill me sign.
Plus, I was 6'2", and the Vietnamese are typically about 5'6".
The airstrikes he called in were the only thing keeping badly outnumbered South Vietnamese troops from being overrun.
The battle raged back and forth. The dying, wounded, moaning softly. Despair and hurt are common. Is this glory?
So that's a good question. Is this glory?
Is this glory? No, it was a combat.
Throughout this poem, you don't seem to have any hatred of the enemy.
No. They were fighting for what they believed in. We were fighting for what we believed in. And that's the essence of war.
Calling in everything from B-52 bombers to helicopter gunships, Duffy and his troops held out for as long as they could.
No one could have expected more from them. We are a team. We have fought together. And if need be, we will die together. That moment is near. I can feel its flame. Soon it will be here. It seems strange no more.
Strange no more. So basically you had accepted the fact that you were going to die?
It was getting a little dicey.
It seems like going in, your position was not survivable.
Probably so, but I was never fearful in the whole battle.
My situation is I got 37 personnel, so every time we meet here, we've got fired on.
That's a recording of Duffy on the radio talking to the aircraft coming to his rescue. One of them is low on fuel and tells Duffy he has to leave.
Oh, so it's made. You did a good job. Next time let's see how your big bottle scotch. Roger that.
Of the 471 men committed, I came out after 2 weeks of intense battle with 36 survivors. Most of them had been wounded.
Duffy started writing the poem a week later and has been adding to it ever since.
No one won on Charlie. each side managed to lose.
Then he sums up his own career, starting as a 17-year-old private and ending as a major with 4 combat tours.
I guess I did well, not having gone to hell.
Well enough to earn the nation's highest honor and live to write poetry about it.
Who's on it with Jardiance?
We're managing type 2 diabetes and heart risk.
We're hitting the trails between meetings.
And putting the brakes on fried foods.
Jardiance is a once-daily pill that not only lowers A1C, it goes beyond to reduce the risk of cardiovascular death for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease. And Jardiance may help you lose some weight.
Jardiance may cause serious side effects, including ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function, and genital yeast or urinary tract infections. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. And don't take it if you're on dialysis. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
A once-daily pill that goes beyond lowering A1C?
We're on it.
We're on it.
We're on it with Jardiance.
Ask your doctor about Jardiance.
If you shop at Walmart, you get it. You save on what you need without skimping on the things you love. You know how to spend a little less to get a little more, to make life a little better.
Sailing a great river past extraordinary landscapes into the heart of iconic cities is a journey for the curious traveler, one that many have yet to discover. Exploring with Viking brings you closer to the world, to the history, the culture, the flavors. A serene river voyage on an elegant Viking longship. Learn more at Viking.com.
I got good news. You know we like to go big time.
I'm so excited.
Amazing. Let's make it happen. The Talk, all new weekdays in July, or stream anytime.
We're creating a fire barrier.
This is how we save our town, right here, right now.
God, I love this job. People are in danger. Let's go, let's go.
Would I go and say bye-bye to Miami in the winter, bye-bye to Saint-Tropez in the summer, and bye-bye to the spring and fall in New York? I have a perfect life.
Keeping you safe from severe weather is the most important thing we do. At CBS 46, we've been Atlanta's most accurate forecast for 8 years in a row, and we want to do even more. And that's why we're committing to something you will not find anywhere else in Atlanta. First Alert Weather. First Alert means when we know, you'll know, as far in advance as possible. So you'll have more time to plan and prepare. This is why we First Alert.
From #1 New York Times bestselling author David Baldacci, meet Travis Devine. Framed, blackmailed, accused of murder. It's just another day on Wall Street for the 620 man, his community's killer.
Becoming the #1 certified dealer in all of Georgia was no easy task. It required the highest quality of vehicles at the fairest prices, plus superb customer experiences. Now we've expanded our certified program to include every brand of vehicle. With Beaver Direct, it doesn't matter what brand you choose, they're all certified. Every vehicle will be thoroughly inspected and expertly reconditioned. Each includes a 12-month, 12,000-mile warranty. Visit us at beaverdirect.com and see for yourself why Beaver Direct is #1.
To get that delivered to you, we need this delivered to us.
To keep costs down there, we need to keep things moving here.
When the supply chain slows down, it hurts everyone. And I mean everyone.
Raphael Warnock, he actually did something about it.
Senator Warnock led the fight to expand work at the Port of Savannah, creating hundreds of jobs and helping lower costs.
So we can get you what you need when you need it.
Raphael Warnock is working for Georgia.
I'm Raphael Warnock, and I approve this message.
From #1 New York Times bestselling author David Baldacci, meet Travis Devine. Framed, blackmailed, accused of murder. It's just another day on Wall Street for the 620 man, his community's killer.
If you're among those of us who have to work this Sunday, we know just the place for you. You'll have to make your way to Tokyo. But once you get there, there's a spot that's the perfect mix of business and pleasure. Elizabeth Palmer takes us to what's come to be called the Deadline Cafe.
Tokyo's famous themed cafes usually feature animals. Cats, pigs, hedgehogs. The vibe is pleasure and play, quite unlike the newest edition that's all about work.
On this busy intersection sits Tokyo's latest pop-up cafe. It's called the Manuscript Cafe, and it's for people who not only have a writing project, but crucially have a deadline. Let's go see.
The mood is serious. A handful of customers sit at workstations glued to their computers, watched over by Takuya Kawai, owner and, well, chief enforcement officer. A fee of about $2.50 an hour gets you fast Wi-Fi, air-cooled computer stands, and Mr. Kawai himself. I try not to hover, he says, not to pressure them too much, but I check their progress every 30 minutes. Hiro Sekiguchi has come to write a lecture due tomorrow. On his registration slip, he's asking to be checked, or you might say gently harassed, every half hour till he's done. Writers are procrastinators. Faced with a blank page, or more likely a screen these days, they'll find a million ways to avoid getting down to work. Well, not here. Kawai is making sure of that with Mr. Takahara, who's racing to finish a manga cartoon. Your aim was 24 pages, he says. How are you doing? Don't worry, he answers. I'm right on track. With the constant roar of traffic in a nondescript suburb, this place isn't what you'd call charming, except for the movie memorabilia and a wall of old technology in the bathroom. But what really counts here is getting it done. Part of the secret, says Hiro Sekiguchi, is the lack of distraction.
I'm comfortable working here.
And focused.
Yeah, focused.
Greater Tokyo is the most populous metropolitan area in the world. So a quiet place away from this hustle to concentrate and create is precious.
It's 20 to 4 in the afternoon, and Mr. Oguchi behind me has finished. Mr. Oguchi,
Hi.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
How many hours did it take?
1.5, he tells me.
Why did you write better and concentrate better here?
I had a tight deadline, and of course I was paying for it.
Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Trust in this game is everything.
Something terrible may be about to happen.
Will the elite rise above the competition?
I'll do whatever it takes to win.
Or will their old strategies cost them everything?
We'll have to betray some of those people, but that's the nature of this game.
The Challenge USA, Wednesday at 9 on CBS.
CBS News. Face the Nation with Margaret Brennan today on CBS.
When you're raised without much, you learn not to waste a single dollar. I learned from my parents and as a tax attorney and small business owner to invest where it matters most. They want to give your money to millionaires. I want to expand Medicaid to invest in hardworking Georgians, create 64,000 good-paying jobs across the state, add 20,000 paid apprenticeships. Economists say it will keep our hospitals open and lower costs for everyone without raising taxes. Don't believe it? Check my math and check out my plan. As governor, I'll work for one Georgia where we all rise.
Your summer adventure begins in a new Subaru. You'll find yours at two great Subaru stores. Troncalli Subaru on Highway 9 in Cumming and Subaru of Kennesaw on Barrett Parkway. Right now, you can take home a new Subaru and take advantage of 2.9% financing. Plus, we'll maintain the love with complimentary maintenance included. So get out there and enjoy the summer in your new Subaru. Shop Subaru of Kennesaw on Barrett Parkway and Troncalli Subaru on Highway 9 in Cumming.
So do you support defunding the police? I support the vision that is underlying that crime.
So yes to some defunding.
We have to reallocate resources, so yes.
Stacey Abrams supported defunding the police. Abrams is on the board of a group pushing to defund and even abolish police. They pay Abrams, and she voted to bankroll anti-police groups. Stacey Abrams is dangerous on crime.
My experience pays, and so will your insurance company.
My A1C stayed here. It needed to be here.
Ruby's A1C is down with Rybelsus.
My A1C wasn't at goal. Now I'm down with Rybelsus.
Mom's A1C is down with Rybelsus.
A1C down with Rybelsus. In a clinical study, once daily Rybelsus significantly lowered A1C better than a leading branded pill. Rybelsus isn't for people with type 1 diabetes. Don't take Rybelsus if you or your family ever had medullary thyroid cancer or have multiple endocrine neoplasia syndrome type 2 or if allergic to it. Stop Rybelsus and get medical help right away if you get a lump or swelling in your neck, severe stomach pain, or an allergic reaction. Serious side effects may include pancreatitis. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes. Taking Rybelsus with a sulfonylurea or insulin increases low blood sugar risk. Side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may worsen kidney problems.
Need to get your A1C down?
A1C down. Ask your healthcare provider about Rybelsus today.
Hey, Dee. Sorry, Mom. It's amazing what you can build on AWS. Imagine creating cool stuff that can make ordering tacos a breeze and let you watch every shot from every player anywhere you want. Learn about investing in the coolest companies and watch your favorite team from the other side of the world. Just imagine what they can do when I'm in charge. Whoa.
Oh my goodness, look at him.
60 Minutes goes to Rwanda to see the cutting-edge science used to study generations of mountain gorillas. Tonight on CBS.
The HOH competition could change everything.
This is a whole different ball game.
New Big Brother, tonight on CBS.
Crime Without Punishment. See it all on cbsnews.com/unsolved.
Your summer adventure begins in a new Subaru. You'll find yours at two great Subaru stores. Troncalli Subaru on Highway 9 in Cumming and Subaru of Kennesaw on Barrett Parkway. Right now, you can take home a new Subaru and take advantage of 2.9% financing. Plus, we'll maintain the love with complimentary maintenance included. So get out there and enjoy the summer in your new Subaru. Shop Subaru of Kennesaw on Barrett Parkway and Troncalli Subaru on Highway 9 in Cumming.
Well, you just picked the wrong guy for what you want.
Did I?
Yeah, I'm not in the market.
I wasn't shopping.
Paul Newman and Joanne Woodward, quite a couple. Accomplished actors, A-listers before there was an A-list, central casting for legends of American film. Now they're the subject of a new documentary. Ben Mankiewicz is our man in Hollywood.
Very good shot. You know, I got a hunch, fat man. I got a hunch it's me from here on in.
He's Paul Newman.
One ball, corner pocket.
With those fierce blue eyes and that flawless face.
Don't bluff, go on, hand.
With a hard-earned reputation for playing flawed characters.
Don't you ever ask?
Well, the only question I ever ask anyone is what time is your husband coming home?
Hey, maybe one night this week, you can tell your wife you got to see a patient.
And do what?
Go dancing. I bet you're a real cute dancer.
She's Joanne Woodward, the oldest living winner of the Oscar for Best Actress.
You got a thin skin is what you got.
Their passion for their work.
But the world belongs to the meat eaters, Miss Clara, and if you have to take it raw, take it raw.
And for each other.
I couldn't live that way.
Lasted half a century.
I'm just sitting here stark and naked as the day I was born.
Not only were they megawatt stars.
Does that open any interesting lines of conversation?
Well?
They were a Hollywood anomaly, a happily married couple. But that part of their story is more fable than fact. We'll get to that later.
They presided over sort of the end of the movies as the universal art form.
The remarkable Newman Woodward story is told fully and told honestly, warts and all, in a 6-part documentary, The Last Movie Stars, streaming this week on HBO Max.
They were the last people who were treated at the beginning of their careers the way Gary Cooper, Katharine Hepburn were treated, and they survived.
I fell more in love with them as I did it, and the more you care about them, the more you want to do the story justice.
The director is an actor, 4-time Oscar nominee Ethan Hawke, who landed the gig in a phone call from one of Woodward and Newman's daughters.
She thought that somebody should make a documentary about her parents, and I was like, oh, definitely, that would be a great documentary. And she's like, well, would you do it? And I remember I was like, oh, me? Why me?
What's the best part of being Paul Newman's daughter?
Probably the eyes.
Clea Newman is Joanne and Paul's youngest.
If you look at my smile, it's exactly Mom's, and if you look at my nose, it's exactly Dad's. It's like
Clea thought a veteran stage and screen actor like Hawke would understand the pressures her parents faced.
They were two really complicated people. They were in a really complicated business.
It's hundreds of thousands of pages. I'm trying to.
The words of Newman and Woodward themselves form the core of the documentary.
The element that the kids gave me that I knew was gold was an abandoned memoir that Paul was writing in the mid-'80s. He had his best friend, Stuart Stern, interview all the most important people in his life. John Huston, Robert Altman, and people that he worked with.
And Joanne.
And Joanne. He even interviewed his ex-wife.
Those interviews were recorded, yet you won't be hearing them, because in 1991, Paul Newman literally set the tapes on fire.
The story is that he took them down to the dump and burned them.
But he didn't burn the transcripts.
And then I had this idea that what if I asked all my actor friends to play these parts and bring them back to life? I'm trying to turn it into kind of like a play with voices, a community looking back.
George Clooney plays Newman.
The glue that held Joanne and me together was that anything seemed possible.
Clea Newman believes her father had a specific goal when he agreed to be interviewed.
He wanted to dispel the myth that everything was perfect, that everything came easy. That's not the case.
Hi, I'm Chris Darling.
Yes, I know.
Paul and Joanne met on Broadway in 1953. Immediately, they were drawn to each other.
At the beginning of their relationship, it was not a complicated conversation about who was the better actor. Everybody thought Joanne was the
Yeah,
better. Is that
right? Everyone.
Including Paul.
Including Paul.
The Paul-Joanne romance began as an extramarital affair. Paul had a wife and 3 young children. In the documentary, Paul's daughter Stephanie says the divorce was devastating for her mother, Jackie.
I was a baby and had to watch my dad and stepmom ride off into the sunset with Hollywood contracts. And she wanted to be an actress. Yes, that's the perfect reaction. It's an unbearable story.
It's unbearable from Jackie's point of view, and I think the remarkable thing that I kind of admire about Paul Newman, when he set out to do the memoir, he asked his best friend to please go interview Jackie and get her side of the story.
Paul and Joanne eventually had 3 children of their own. Joanne, in one of those interviews that Paul burned, read here by Laura Linney, expressed her bouts of ambivalence regarding motherhood.
Somebody once asked me, what was it like to be home and raising your children and having a career and everything? And I said it was horror. You were guilty if you were on set because you should be home with the children. If you were home with the children, you thought, why am I not on the set? Why is Shirley MacLaine getting all those parts?
And then she says, my children are all wonderful. I love them all, and they are all individuals worthy of being loved. But if I had to do it over again, I'm not sure I'd have children. Actors don't make good parents.
And I thought, as an actor myself, I needed to put that line in the movie.
I think it was very hard for her to give up something that she was so passionate about. I don't blame her for that. But I'm still human, and I'm her kid, so I don't think that she felt that way later in life at all.
When they first married, she just won the Oscar. She's the star. And then she had to sit and watch her husband's career each year. I mean, you know, I put in the documentary, there's a shot of the Beatles arriving in America. They said, what do you hope to do? And they say, meet Paul Newman, you know.
You just do anything I say, huh?
Well, I want to stay.
You're a nut.
Part of that fame was Newman's considerable sex appeal.
Oh, boy, she knows exactly what she's doing.
Which he suggested was pure Hollywood fiction.
And he says all of it is a myth. When people meet me, there's that initial excitement. And they start to talk to me, and that
goes down the longer they talk to me.
Sexual interest just diminishes with each passing moment.
I loved you more than...
Only the two people who are involved know what binds that relationship together.
Their marriage, the documentary makes clear, was a challenge. Paul's excessive drinking was their biggest hurdle. The kids call him a functioning alcoholic. But Joanne says they worked at it together.
Joanne gave him his confidence. Joanne taught him to believe in himself. Joanne taught him to love himself. When somebody asked her why their marriage worked, she said, there's my ego, and there's his ego, and there's our ego. And when we're both in service of our ego, we can do anything.
They worked together on 16 movies, 5 of them directed by Paul.
Their relationship never stopped growing. Their art never stopped growing. They never stopped pushing themselves, finding new things that were interesting to them.
But that, you're right, that's got to come from you.
Joanne directed theater, Paul raced cars, and together,
This is what Newman's Own is all about.
they were exceedingly generous philanthropists.
How much did they give away?
Between $700 million and $1 billion. But I don't really know.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. And the funny thing is that they probably wouldn't want anybody to know.
Every hotel room we've stayed in since we came to Europe has a mirror.
Well,
Why does it always have to be right in front of the bed?
other countries, other morals.
What they likely would want us to know is that they both did their finest work and became their best selves in the last act of their lives.
I feel like we all need heroes that show the end of our life as a possibility of being the best part of our life.
They never weren't holding hands, his arm around her. They were so in tune with each other. It was like what a good relationship can look like after you work really hard through the tough times.
The toughest times came quickly. In 2007, Woodward, at 77, was diagnosed with dementia. Less than 10 days later, Newman learned he had terminal cancer.
When my father was dying, my mother, she didn't want to be in the room. And so we were walking around in the living room, and then she looked at me and she said, I have to go to him. And she walked in and just grabbed his feet, and he took his last breath. You know, even in death, the last person he wanted to connect with was her.
At Tough Shed, we've spent